Hi everyone and welcome back to our Melee AI series. In the previous episodes we set up our enemy here to basically chase us wherever we go, keeping a certain distance away at all times. Now at the moment you can see it's not very fluid, it's quite harsh when it stops, it doesn't come to a slow down or anything like that, it just sort of just stands there waiting for you to move. So we're going to start making work towards making this feel a little bit more realistic so that he is not so static. So what we're looking at doing today is implementing some basic systems such as holding patterns and implementing how we can actually accomplish that in the behavior tree to make them move around whilst keeping focus on the player character. So to do this, we need to set up some sort of state system so that each AI enemy is storing a state that they're currently in. And this can be done by an enumerator. So I'm going to go to Add New, Blueprints and Enumeration. And I'm going to call this one state, or AI state. With that now done, go into AI state, and in enumerator, click on new. And in here, we can start adding a list of the different states we're going to have for our AI. Now, we're not going to go too fancy with it, we're going to keep it quite basic. So I'm going to put in sort of like 3 states at the moment. So we're going to put in a holding state. And the holding state is going to be where they're idle. They're waiting for the attack permission. They're basically doing nothing. Then we've got an attacking state, which is what I think it is. And finally, we have a recovery state. And the recovery state is when an enemy has been knocked down or attacked, or they've just attacked and you want them to recover a bit of time. So this is sort of like some null time where they can't really do much. They're sort of locked into this sort of pattern of, I can't do nothing because something just happened to me. So that's quite different from holding. Holding is literally they're waiting and they'll move around still to make sure they're within attack distance of the player. But recovery isn't. Recovery is that they're doing whatever they need to do to get back on their feet. So hit save and go to your melee enemy blueprint, the actual actor itself. And on here, we're going to store their state that they're currently in. So on here, we're going to go, actually, let's do it on the controller. The controller makes a bit more sense to put this on. So on the controller here, we're going to make a new variable. And we'll do this one as current state. And the current state is going to be a variable type of that state machine we just did. So AI state enumerator. And when you can compile this, you can see you can choose from the drop down those 3 options. And we're going to leave as holding as its default one. So that's the current state variable setup. Next is we want to make them focus on the player. So at the moment on our behavior tree, we've just got the find the player location and move to the player location. But what we also want to happen is that they will stick and stay looking at the player. So we need to make a new task here, which is going to make them focus onto the player. So go new task and choose BT task blueprint base. And we're going to rename it straight away. And we're going to rename it focus target. And the target focus target task is going to be blank blueprint. And we're going to start things off with an execute AI event. And with the event receive execute AI, all we're simply doing is telling it to focus. So we're going to go focus, and we want to do set. It probably might have to come from the controller. Set focus. Yep, set focus. And the new focus is the target that you want it to focus on. Now, in this game tutorial we're doing, we're just using the player because there's only one target and that's the player. But you may have AI which may attack other AI. In that case, you want to focus on different targets. So the target here, the new focus here, needs to be a variable, something that we can change because it won't always be the player. Hence why we didn't call it focus on player or anything like that. So the new focus here needs to be a variable, and the best way of doing that is doing it from the controller here. And we're going to cast to the enemy AI controller. And we may as well take the target, put that in there. Now, the reason why we're going to the controller is because on the controller, on here, I want to set the target of the enemy. So on here, we're going to create a new variable. and we call this one current target. And this will be a variable type of a actor. And we click compile. If you go back to your focus target now, we can now drag from as enemy AI and get that current target variable. And you'll get end things off with a finish execute. And tick success. Make sure you tick success. Hit compile, and we're going to close out. Now, to test this out, I'm going to move this onto our behavior tree here. And I'm going to disconnect the move to. So, I'm going to put it right in between. Go focus target. And I'm just going to disconnect the move to and hit save. Now, that target variable on the enemy AI controller needs to be set to something. So on begin play, I'm going to drag current target out and choose set. And just plug in get player character. And that will set the current target to the player character. So that when I run the AI behavior tree, it will just look at the player. And you can see he's turned now to face the player, and you can see him turning at all times to focus on me. Okay, which is a bit more what you want to expect to see in a game. Okay, they're looking at their target. And you can add in things later with animation, so their feet shuffle as they turn around. You can do that stuff. But at the moment, we're focused just on getting him more believable movement. So now if I plug back in my move to, there we go, and hit save. Now he's going to turn and run towards me a lot smoother in the turning sort of sense. The stopping and starting still isn't smooth. We're going to work on that in a moment. But there you go. Okay, so there's the focus set up. So the holding pattern, if you ever look at a game like Assassin's Creed or Batman Arkham series, enemies don't just stand there. They have a holding pattern, and their holding pattern literally is that they will stay within a certain distance of the player, but they may walk up closer, they may walk further away, they may strafe left and right. They all just wander about in a space until it's ready time for attack. Pay attention to it. When you go play one of these games, have a look, and you'll notice that the characters that you're not fighting against yet directly are just wandering around in their own little sort of like invisible square almost. And that's what we're going to try and replicate there. So let's have a crack at doing that. However, before we get to that, let's fix that harsh movement that we saw on the enemy actor. So the first thing we're going to do is go into the behavior tree. Now, the behavior tree at the moment, what's happening is we find the player location, we look at the player, and then we move that target location. And then it goes around and looks for the new player location, and so forth, so forth, so forth. Now, we've told our move to here to update with this tick up here. This tick means that it's going to update the move to destination based on this new value. However, this new value is not getting set until until it gets back round in the loop. So what we need to do is have this run and have this run at the same time. Now, in a behavior tree, the way you do that is with a parallel. So let's drag a parallel out. So a simple parallel. And I'm going to disconnect my move to and connect to the purple one here. That's the main task. So this is the main job that's happening here. And then the secondary task is going to be this find player location task. So I'm going to copy and paste that to there. We're now going to put the focus target there, and there we have it. Okay, so the simple parallel is going to do the move to and find the player task. This secondary one, what that means is that this will continue to run in the background whilst this one is still doing its job. And therefore, this is going to be updating that target the whole entire time, and it's going to be updating the move to target the whole entire time. So now, there's going to be a little bit less stuttery. It's still harsh stops and things like that, but it's a lot more accurate in that he's chasing me. Okay. So next job is to improve that that harsh static stop that we have on the character's movement. So that all deals with the character movement component. So let's go to the actor and click on the character movement component. And up the top, you see character movement general settings. And in here, you see max acceleration and as well as many other things. So max acceleration by default is 2048. I'm going to turn it right down to 512. And you can play about with these values to get something you like. It's just tweaking them until you get something that is suitable for what you want. So now he'll accelerate up to his full speed. He won't just start running at full pelt. Yeah, so it's a bit of a wind up before he starts leaping off the base. And likewise, you find things for deceleration as well. So you can find that down in the walking section. You'll find braking deceleration, and you can change that down as well. Like we can turn it to 512, I guess, as well. Hit play, and there we go. The next one we're going to do is we'll tick on also this. We can try it. We can tick on use separate braking friction, and you can turn this up if you like. So I can turn this up to, I don't know, let's do 100. Again, you play about these values until you get something that you like. Yeah. Also, we have this issue with the camera, and the reason that's doing that is because the spring arm on the player character has collision on it. So if you go to your player character model, and the actor of that, go to the camera boom, and you'll see do collision test. Just turn that off. And now I can put my camera through the enemy. Okay, so now we've got a bit smoother movement with the enemy. Okay, it's not so static in his stopping and starting. He is winding up to that takeoff. Okay. So the next job is make him wander around the environment a little bit based on where he currently is. So let's get him doing that. Now the wandering part is going to be handled in the behavior tree here and in doing different sequence. So this sequence here is all to do with the state of just getting up to the player character. Once we've got to that point, then it can go elsewhere. So here we can move that over here. And so once it's moved to that location, we'll make it do a wandering sort of branch this way. So to do that, we're going to do another sequence. And I'm going to rename it so it don't get too confusing because this is going to get quite large. So here we're going to go wandering. Would help if I had caps lock turned off. There we go. Wandering, and we'll do this one as movement. Okay, so on the wandering one, so after he's done this move to location, this wandering one's going to kick in and do a sequence here. So this one's going to find a location within a certain radius of the enemy, and then it's going to make it move to that location. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a new task and choosing the BT task blueprint base again, and renaming it again, and we'll call it wander. Actually, sorry, find wander location task. And in here, it's going to be very similar to the setup for what we did with the find player location. So everything you see here, except for this part. Okay, so we're going to go and do execute AI, and in a new variable, bb underscore target location, and that's going to be a blackboard key selector, and it's going to be editable. Next, we're going to take the pawn here, and we're going to get random, not get random. Let's do just right click and do random navigable. That's it. Get random point in navigable radius. Actually, let's do random reachable point in radius. No, sorry, we'll do this one, middle one. Get random point in navigable radius. So we need an origin point, and the origin point is going to come from the pawn. So I'm going to get the pawn's get location, like so, and we'll do a radius of how far you want to wander. So let's do say 200, and that random location is then going to be put into this blackboard key selector. So I'm going to get the blackboard key selector out, set value as a vector, and you connect that vector up to the random location that we've just got. Plug that in, and then finally we're going to finish execute and tick the box. So this thing's just going to look at the actor's location, the enemy's location, find a random point within 200 yards, or 200 units rather, and then set the Blackboard target location vector to that location. You can hit compile and go back to our tree. So on the wandering bit, we're going to do the wander task to find that location. Make sure that the BB target location is set to the correct Blackboard key, which is target location. And then we're going to do something similar to what we've done over here. We've done the move to, but I don't need to do a parallel for this one because we don't need to keep updating this. So I'm going to do a move to. And the move to, we'll do an acceptable radius of, say, 25. And we'll leave the rest of it as is. So now, after he's done his move to the player location, he should start wandering around almost aimlessly. He's still focused on the player, but just wandering around. So let's just push play and have a look at that. So there you have this sort of wandering nature to him, yeah. Obviously it looks a bit weird with the animation, because I haven't set up any complex animations for it yet. It's still very, very basic animation. But you see the general gist of him wandering around the player. Yeah. Now, one thing you may want to do as well is when they're wandering around the player is change their speed of their movement. So on my find wander location task, on here, actually let's make another task here. On behavior tree, we go new task, BT task blueprint base, rename it, and we'll rename it set speed, set walk speed underscore task. And we're going to use this task to set the walk speed of our enemy actor AI when they're at various stages. So quite simply, we can do a variable here, and we're going to do walk speed, and this will be a float. And then we're going to do the executes. So get execute AI, get the controlled pawn, and cast to your character, cast a character. And as character, we're going to get character movement component. Or maybe just called character movement. Let's oh. There you go, just get character movement. And from there you can set max walk speed. And we're going to plug in that variable into the max walk speed. Make sure on the variable list that you tick the eyeball to make it editable. And then we're going to end things off with a finish execute. And tick the box. Hit compile. So now when we drag it into our behavior tree, so no one's wandering here, I could just set here walk speed task, and here I can type in what value I want the walk speed to be at. So by default it is at 600, I believe. So if I turn it down to 300, he'll walk slower when he's wandering around, which makes it a bit more realistic because he's pacing around you. Then at the start of this one, we're going to do set max set walk speed task, and I'm going to set this one to 600 and hit save. Yeah. Okay, so that's that one done. Then if we go to play that, he should now walk slower when he's wandering around us. Not that we'll notice too much because he's walking very short distances. Okay, next is we want him to not be so erratic with the movement around the player, okay? And also not to get so damn close. So let's do the delay on that one. So on your behavior tree, we can set up a delay. And the delay we're going to do just after we've done the max walk speed task thing. We could do it actually anywhere. Let's do it at the end of move 2. We'll do a delay. Oh, not delay. What's it called? Wait, is it? Yeah, wait. There you go. Wait, and you can type in how many seconds you want it to wait. So I'm going to say 2 seconds with a random deviation of 1.5. Okay, so random deviation means it'll go 1.5 either way. So either be half a second wait time or a 3.5 second wait time. So let's save that and play that. So now he'll get to me, wait, and then move again, wait, and move again, wait. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do on here is fix the random location it's picking. So at the moment, it's picking a random location based on its current position, which isn't entirely great because we don't want him to pick a random location based on his current position, but based upon the target position that he originally went to. So let's go ahead and work that out. So on my behavior tree here, at the moment, my wander location task and my player task is using the same Blackboard key. So now if I set that up to be slightly different by adding another Blackboard key, so go to my Blackboard, new vector, and we'll do this one as minor target location, and hit save. Then on my behavior tree, I can go to my wander location task and tell it to use the minor one, and the move to use the minor one as well. Then go to your find wander location task, and on here we've got get actor location, and we're going to set this to be within the origin of the target location that we get from the Blackboard. So we need a new Blackboard key selector. So BB, and we do origin location, and origin location is going to be editable. We'll drag that out, get value as vector, and that'll be your origin instead of the actor's location. So now when it walks to a position to chase the player, it will choose that position, and that will be its origin. Then it will just wander around in that origin sort of space. Hit compile, and let's have a look at this in the behavior tree and just fix that. So BB origin location, make sure that target location is the correct one, and the target location is the minor target location is going to. Hit save, and let's test that out. So now he should wander around a position there. Unfortunately, he's going to pick the player's wrong location. So let's fix that one. So the issue there is that this is outputting the actual player's location. Yeah. And then, but our move to is forcing it to stop at a certain location. We want to take this stop location here as its new location there. So what we need to do here is, what do we need to do? Let's go into, we'll do, what should we do? We'll do another task here, I guess. Yeah. So we go new task, BT task, blueprint base, and rename it. Set, we'll set anchor location. We'll call it anchor location. That's what essentially it is like. And on this anchor location task, we're going to go execute AI, and then from here we're going to get the basically do what we did on. Actually, no, we can just use control pawn. We go get location, and we're going to, on the variables here, BB target location, and that type will be a Blackboard key selector. Make sure you tick the eyeball so you can edit it in the behavior tree. Drag that out and choose get, and then drag it out from the pin and do a set Blackboard value as vector. We can plug that in there, and then finish execute. Tick the box. Okay, so we've got that one. So this anchor location, we go to the behavior tree now. After the simple parallel, we're going to drag out and do a set anchor location, and the BT target location is going to be set to the target location point, which we want, and then the wandering is then going to do the wandering around that anchor position. So hit save, and let's test that out. Okay, so got a slight movement around the player. I'll probably shorten that delay a little bit. That delay is a bit too long. So on that weight, let's turn down the random deviation here to just 0.5. And let's change this to 1. Okay. And there he goes, walking around the player. Strafing around the player as well. Again, the animations aren't set up, so it will look a bit ropey with the animation sense. But what you're thinking of looking at is just the movement of the pawn itself around the player. So that's sort of the wandering mechanic done. What we're working in the next episodes is start looking at how the attack setup works as well, and how that behavior tree looks with the attack animations and the attack code. So what will happen here? He'll wander around the player, and then he'll be given the command to attack the player, and then he'll jump in and attack the player. And that is it for this episode. If you want to watch the next part right now, you can head over to patreon.com/RyanLeddy, where that episode plus many others are for you to watch before anyone else. Big thank you to all my patrons for their continued support. This wouldn't be possible without you guys, so thank you again so much. If you have any comments about this series or any future content you'd like to see, please leave a comment below. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to me. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.